So we did a 4-day, 3-night trek through to Machu Picchu and the Inca Trail. There is actually a train ride that will take you up there if you don't want to do the hike. But we thought that the hike would actually be a really fun way to go see it. And if you're adventurous, I definitely suggest that you definitely give her a try. Now, the trail is magnificent. The alpaca group that we took through was amazing. Really great guides and really good. All the porters were amazing. The trip had beautiful views. The only thing, even beautiful, like really good food. Considering they were just, porters were traveling our food and everything else, the food was amazing. Toilets, on the other hand, they weren't so great. There were some that actually had toilets with no seats, but for the most part, they were just a hole in the ground where the foot placed, like a spot to put your feet. And they had a lever to pull, like to kind of clean it down, but it was still pretty freaking gross. Not really my idea of a bathroom, but hey, you also got to bring your own paper. But hey, it is what it is, right? You make do with what you're at. And in these third world countries, it's just the way it is. But yeah, the views were spectacular. The walking around was difficult. I wasn't sure I wanted the poles at first, and I was really glad that I had them. They actually really helped to stabilize you when going up and down and taking some of the weight off of your lower body. So when you were getting tired, you could actually use your arms as well. And it was actually, because I know especially going down was really kind of hurting my hips. So the fact that I had the poles to help with that was quite helpful, because otherwise I'd hate to see how much it would have hurt otherwise. But you got to be careful, as they can also be a tripping hazard depending on, who's walking in front of you and exactly where they're placing them and so on and so forth. So really watch, as accidents do happen. Unfortunately, on our day 3, which was someone else's day 4, there was an accident that happened. The man lost his life. So it really goes to show you that it's not something that you take lightly. You be very careful. And when they caution you to, walk and not play on your phone, not take pictures while walking, you stop to take pictures, you really pay attention. You take that stuff seriously, because it's so darn important, as those things can happen, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, the views were beautiful. You want to make sure that you're dressed properly. You carry a little backpack. You want to keep it as light as possible, but you do want to have snacks in there. As you do get, the 3 meals a day for the most part, not every day, but most days. But you want to make sure that, in between, if you get hungry, you have a snack, because it is really hard work. It does burn an awful lot of calories, especially if you're not used to it. Like, I'm a letter carrier, so I'm used to walking 30,000 steps a day, which is roughly what we were getting each day. But I'm on flat land here, and I don't exactly have mountains to go practice in. So for me, I was using the Stairmaster and the elliptical and work as my my training, basically, and it did help, but it's still not enough. So it's the only vacation I've actually been on and come home 6 pounds lighter with eating more food. But like I said, the food was excellent. You'd sit there, and even though they were late dinner sometimes, but they'd start it off with like popcorn and whatever else. And then when the main meal came, they had quite a few different options. I'm really picky, but there was something pretty much every day that I did like with every meal, which was really great. And they also will cater to people who, like, we had a vegetarian, vegan or whatever on our group. And they made special things for him, which was really great. It is hard. Everyone but me had actually taken altitude medication on this trip. I was okay, which was really good, but that's because we went to Peru for 4 days before and acclimatized. But we did have the one gentleman who ended up with his blood pressure went up quite high. So he ended up, luckily it was at the end of day 2, so he went and laid down and didn't, have dinner. Didn't come to breakfast the next day. He was able to make the trip, but it was very difficult for him. And then we had an older gentleman who also needed oxygen at one point. But I mean, he was 73 years old. He made the trip. It was fantastic. But he is used to climbing and doing these trips, as he's done quite a few, he says, over the years. And considering, he comes from the British area, they have a lot of maybe not quite so big of mountains up so high with, lack of oxygen, but he definitely does those treks. So here in this picture here, this is when we were actually, our day 4, when we were starting. We started that day at like 3 in the morning. We went and sat there and waited till 6 o'clock till they opened up the gates. We went through the gates because we wanted to see the sunrise. And we had headlamps to do most of this trek. Now, that was kind of scary, as you can't really see, even more of a tripping hazard, so be extra cautious on this point. But yeah, to see that the views were just impeccable. And then, like I said, you're just a few hours to hit Machu Picchu at that point. On this day, it's funny because I felt like I had pretty good energy all the way through. And I'm like, okay, great, because we had booked Rainbow Mountain for the following day after we got back from this. And we're like, great, we're going to do good. But then once we got to actual Machu Picchu, I really felt my energy decline. And, we really weren't feeling up to doing the Rainbow Trail. So unfortunately, we did miss it. So I don't suggest booking another excursion like this back to back, because it really will exhaust you. But yeah, be careful, have fun. Like I said, anybody can do it. We had older people, like a 73-year-old man in there. We had some in their 60s. Mind you, most of them had done it. This was our first overnight trip in the mountains. Not that we haven't done mountains. We've done tons of mountains, just never several days in a row. So this was our first time, but we got through it, and so can you. So if this is something that you want to do, that you think you can do, I definitely say give it a try. But definitely train for it. Definitely be prepared. Do your research. If you have any questions, please reach out on this thread. I'd be happy to answer any questions that I can for you. But yeah, just like I said, if it's something you want to do,